Hi there, I'm Dom from Sony Mobile and I'm joined by Bill Black from Sony Digital Imaging, and today we're going to talk to you about the photographic capabilities of the Xperia Z1.
Okay, thank you, Dom. As Dom said, I currently work for Sony Digital Imaging and I've made my living as a professional photographer beforehand. The same elements that go into this digital SLR are in the Sony Z1, and I'm going to talk to you briefly about those now. There are three basic elements that make up a high quality camera. The lens is one of the most important, and in the Z1 we use a Sony G lens. A Sony G lens is one of the higher grade Sony lenses, often favoured by sports photographers. The second component is the sensor, and I'm going to talk to you about that in more detail because we've got a unique sensor in this phone and it's worth talking about especially. The third one is the BIONZ processor. The BIONZ processor is one of the fastest on the market and can actually render images much faster than a lot of processors out there, up to 61 frames over 2 seconds.
Right, and harking back to the sensor that you were saying before, we've got a little visual representation of what goes into a smartphone. So here is one that you'd see in an entry-level smartphone. Then you multiply that by about 8 times the size, and you've got the one that's in the Xperia Z, which takes 13 megapixel images. But then we've got double the size again, which is in the Xperia Z1. So having that bigger sensor in my phone, what does that mean to me as a customer?
The best way to think of a sensor is like a window in a room. If you're in a room, the bigger the window, the more natural light gets in, the more colour you can see, the less dark areas there are. And as the light fades outside, the less quickly you have to actually turn the lights on. The other thing that's really unique about Sony's sensors is their construction. A sensor is normally constructed of 3 panes of glass which are held together by a grid of wiring on the front. Now, the problem with having the grid of wiring on the front is that it stops light hitting the sensor and it actually creates a layer of noise on your image because it's in front of the sensor. Sony Xperia Z sensors have the wiring on the back where it should be. It's a proprietary Sony format and it works really well in eliminating noise and letting more light fall on the sensor.
Brilliant. So to sum up, we've got all the same ingredients that this SLR has got in my Sony Xperia Z1. Because of the proprietary sensor, we get more natural looking pictures, less visual noise, and I don't have to use a flash as often.
Good to see that you were paying attention.
All right then, well, we'll see you next time.